Hello, everyone. This is Gary Carpenter with Prepare for College. That's prepare the number 4college.com. Today, joining me again is Chuck Moore and Al Hoffman, and we're going to be talking about what do you do with your personal information? What do you do about possible scholarship scams? So I'm going to take it off, and I'm sure Chuck and Al will have questions, which I'll try to answer. I can't guarantee that I'll answer them all, but we're going to do our best here. So I guess the first thing I'm most concerned about today is organizations getting hacked with your information being in their database. And that's why I strongly advise, okay, don't give your social security number out, okay? If you've initiated a call to an organization and they ask for like the last four digits of your social security number, that's one thing. That's fine. They're just verifying your identity. But to give a social security number over the phone to someone you don't know or some organization you don't know, you're just asking for trouble. If it comes to that, if somebody asks you for your social security, just say, I'm sorry, that's confidential information. And go on from there. Now, if they start asking for bank account information, well, what better way to scam someone than to get their bank information and their social security number? All they got to do is have a program that goes through and searches for passwords, matches up to your username and password, and bingo, they're into your account in a heartbeat. And finally, any personal information. Now, I have friends who will give out Facebook, uh, Instagram, they have their name all over the place, okay? Quite frankly, I'm not real excited about having my name all over the place, although, I do like the publicity, but still at the same time, the dangers are just too much. So again, limit to what you're going to give you as far as personal information and especially personal financial information. Now, let's talk a little bit about scholarships, okay? Sounds good, but you get some information over the internet, you even might even get a phone call, okay? And it sounds like a great opportunity. You want to pursue it some more, but you're still not sure. What I usually do if it's a phone call, I said, perfect. Send me a link to your website and I'll take a look at it. If it's a website, one of the first things I start doing is I look up the organization online. Who are they? You know, do they have a PO box for an address, which is well, okay, but what's their physical address? I want to know where they're actually located. You can have a PO box here in the US and you can have a physical address in Southeast Asia or Europe. It's That's the way they work. So again, investigate them online. Check with your Better Business Bureau. Have they heard of them before? Is there any record on them at all? And again, if they have not heard of them before, it's not a bad thing, okay? But it's another red flag you want to check out and say, well, why don't they report to the Better Business Bureau? And search for reviews and complaints. Now, everybody says you go to your website, you'll get the reviews, you get the complaints. Let's face it, they're managing their own website. Are they really going to post all the complaints or any of the complaints at all? All you're going to do is see raving reviews. So you got to take it a step farther beyond that. What other avenues can you use to go down to get information about this? You can search the organization's name dash complaints. You can go to different organizations. I mentioned the Better Business Bureau, but they might be affiliated with a nonprofit organization or another company, and you can go and check them out also. Okay, look for the website contact. As I said earlier, is it a legitimate real address with a phone number that you can contact? You know, I'm going to confess, I'm old school. I like to talk to people. And I'll give you a perfect example this
Yeah.
month. I had the opportunity to renew my membership in the American Institute of CPAs and pay my renewal membership. And I had an option to call in or do it online or go to their website. And it was early this morning. I just wanted to get this off my desk. So I went to their website, logged in, my username and password, everything. To make a long story short, it was one of the worst websites in my life. I should have made the phone call to get my register or my membership renewed. A half an hour on a website, and I'm saying, oh, this is really efficient. So again, I'm old school. If I can talk to a person, I want to talk to a person. If I can't, then I want to go back and see, okay, what do I have to access to them on their website? Are they going to email me back, or am I just going to get frequently asked questions? And finally, I always say if it sounds too good to be true, it probably isn't true. So if somebody out of the Kluber says, you've been selected for a scholarship, well, the first thing you got to ask yourself, did I apply for this scholarship? How did you get my information? Why am I being selected? The first thing people say, oh, good. How do I get that done? No, stop there. Investigate them. How did you get my information? Why are you selecting me for this scholarship? And if they can't come up with legitimate answers or it sounds a little phony, say, thank you very much, but I think I'm going to turn this one down. We'll do all the work for you. Other organizations say, hey, you get a merit scholarship and we'll do all the work for you. Well, that's a nice story. And in today's environment, if somebody else can do the work for you, that's fine. But guess what? They might do the work for you. There's no guarantees you're going to get anything, and they may end up charging you a fee. So again, research it in detail before you do anything at all. And the one I like is you've won money in a contest. One contest you didn't enter. As soon as you hear that, just hang up. Go on with your life. Don't waste any more time. And take an example from me. I should have gone on this morning when I went in to renew my membership. I had problems. I should have just got out of there and picked up the phone. So I'm just as bad as some of you out there, but I'm trying to rehabilitate myself. Guys, are there any questions that you might have?
No, you probably have some suggestions for individual parents out there looking for scholarships. How about you giving us some examples?
The the national scholarship databases, there's lots of them, actually, probably a couple of dozen, but fastweb.com scholarships, College Board, meritaid.com. Uh, they're legit scholarship search engines, but the line of demarcation from legit to not, Gary just covered rather well. The only thing that I will tell you on these national scholarships, Meritaid and stuff like that, FastWeb, you have to follow the money and suggest, say, how are they making money? And one of the things I've heard is that they sell emails to people. And they sell, it's a lot, millions of dollars of profit just from those emails. So a small suggestion, because I'm not against these databases and I'm not against giving the time and effort to see if you can get some of that money, because if you don't ask, you don't get. But may I suggest that you created a new email to put into the questions that have to be answered to get into the database. And again, like Gary said, if they start to ask questions about socials and things like that, then that's just an instant turn off. But the email is still valuable to people for marketing purposes. And so there's money there, and it's from a PI standpoint, personal identification information. It's an email, but it's not anything that's going to bother you other than the fact that you're going to get a lot of solicitation for rings and banners and hoodies and backpacks and everything that says Duke on them or whatever. So it would be my suggestion to create your scholarship email and use that on all these scholarship search engines, the few that I just mentioned. So that's one
Well,
thing.
I have a question on that. If once you apply for a scholarship like that, are you given the opportunity to go ahead and either opt out of any additional solicitations from outside societies? Uh, are there something, whenever you're on the site and such, do they tell you that they're going to be using your email to give out to other individuals?
The actual scholarship databases, I have not seen that there. But I have seen it at the individual, in other words, if I go to a Coca-Cola scholarship, then they'll have a privacy statement on that application. Is it done? Do you get that kind of an opt-out issue at the organization, FastWeb or Merit Aid or scholarships.com? I do believe I've seen a couple, but I see it all the time when you get to the actual scholarship itself that they can opt out. So there may be the ability to opt out, but there again, even if you opt out, gosh, it is it's a slippery slope to sit there and see if that's going to be enforced. Um, again, I'm not going to be too worried about it as long as I create a scholarship or an email that I'm going to use for my scholarships. And by the way, after I'm done with my scholarship searching, then I'm going to dump that email. Okay. Just that's it. So I don't have to worry about getting all those hoodie ads. Okay. Um, One of the things that I do know that I've seen actual examples of uh, by by a young lady in Arlington, Virginia. No names here, but at the same time, she helped her children get tens of thousands of dollars in scholarship. But what she did that's significantly different than what you may be thinking is that she went to the regional scholarship. So if you go to the big scholarship search engines, FastWeb, for instance, scholarships.com, if you go to those are the national ones, the Coca-Cola Scholarship, Miss America, et cetera, et cetera. If you go to the high school guidance counselors in your high schools in your region, in your city, that's where you will find some regional scholarships. Example here in Waterford, Connecticut, there's a um, American or a VFW Post, and the VFW Post has a patriotism award for $1,000. And the year that I was privy to see some of those things, they only had two applicants. So even if you had a bad essay, you probably had a 50% chance of still getting the $1,000. So can't hardly lose with those regional scholarships. A lot less competitive and not as big. But then if you you know, put down four quarters make a dollar type thing. Okay, if you add it up, it can make a difference. And a lot of people really, if they do things right, they only need about another 5,000 or so to usually to make the budget work. So it's entirely impossible to take the stress off the whole situation by going after those regional scholarships. Now, I just got to reiterate what Gary was talking about. If they ask, if they say things like "you must act now," or if they say, "Well, this only costs 1995 for administrative purposes," put on your tennis shoes and run the other way as quickly as possible. it, it's it's not. There is never ever a time I'm going to pay even 4.95, whatever. It's not even. I wouldn't pay a penny. I just wouldn't spend any money to be able to apply for a scholarship. That's just wrong. Um, so there is no guarantees, but if you'll spend time on those regional scholarship areas, then I think you with a high degree of, and I don't 50-50, I think like 90-10, you'll have some money. Maybe not a lot, but any amount is going to take off the edge. So it's definitely worthwhile going after scholarships. Chuck, you got anything?
Yeah, one of the best sources that I tell a lot of parents to check in before they do anything is their high school guidance counselors. They normally have a list of scholarships that are local, as well as statewide. A lot of them will go ahead and give students information on the colleges that are within the state that the student lives in. Some of them will have other scholarships available, mainly from, let's say, private universities. So your high school guidance counselor is the very first choice that I would recommend individuals to checking into to see what these particular local scholarships are, the VFW, the YMCA clubs, things along those lines. A lot of people will run and they'll go out and purchase the scholarship book, every year or whatever. And the individual, may have a book out that says, I got over, $500,000 worth of scholarship offers. Buy this book and I'll show you how to do it. Well, I've done some research on that, and some of these books that are out there that touting that I made so much scholarship money by applying here, here, and here, they're not telling you the background of that individual that actually wrote the book. That individual probably aced out the ACT, SAT test score. They've taken advanced placement courses. And anyone at that high level on an academic standpoint, they're going to get all kinds of scholarship offers from colleges and universities, private organizations, and things along those lines. So going out and buying a scholarship book on where to find scholarships and such, I feel like it's a waste of money. You can get the appropriate information and the right contacts directly from your high school guidance counselors. And a lot of individuals basically try to struggle, especially with what changes has come about over the last several months of monies that are available through the financial aid system. So they're searching for scholarships. You may get, a solicitation either in the mail or, through email contacts or from your Facebook account and such that will say, congratulations, you've been selected for a $10,000 scholarship. But once you get in, they're wanting to have, once again, Gary and Al covered this, they'll ask for a $100 processing fee. That is one big, big red flag. Once again, don't pay anybody for scholarship information. A lot of this, like I say, can be found through your high school guidance counselors and doing your own search and making sure that the organization is a legitimate organization, making sure that they're nonprofit organization that provides this. And a lot of these scholarships that you're going to find out there, they're going to be small, but several small scholarships can add up to a substantial amount of money. But once again, you need to be aware of not being scammed by some of these individuals out there looking for some type of processing fee or some type of administration fee or application fee and things along those lines. So just be wary of those organizations. So that's what I've got, Gary. Or
Yeah,
I'll
just
go
like
ahead.
to wrap it up here, guys. Good presentation. I'll just leave you this one word of advice. If you're looking for scholarships, start local. And if you have to
Local.
expand the notional, fine, but you're probably going to have most of your benefit starting locally for scholarships.
Amen.
Thank you very much for your time today. Again, this has been recorded and will be on our website at prepareforcollege.com, and that's prepare4college.com. We'll be coming back next week with another topic for you. But in the meantime, if you have any family members or friends who have children that are about to go into college or in their last year of high school and they don't know what's going on, show them the website. I think they'll find a lot of important and helpful information. So with that, I say goodbye to everyone. For Al and for Chuck and myself, have a good week. Goodbye now.